Hello, this is Aaron Mean of SG Game Info, and welcome to my video review of Assassin's Creed Syndicate. Following the bug-ridden and poorly received Assassin's Creed Unity, it can only be presumed that the following game in the franchise, Assassin's Creed Syndicate, should be better, and while Syndicate is thankfully not filled with bugs and graphical issues, the lack of these issues does however highlight the franchise's poor gameplay. Assassin's Creed Syndicate's gameplay continues to feel stagnant as the franchise's simplistic combat system remains and continues to feel as simple as ever, with countering, breaking defenses, and dodging bullets all but a simple button push away. There were very few occasions in the game where I didn't feel overpowered, and those feelings occurred when I took to one of the game's new pieces of gameplay, the horse-drawn carriages. Controlling these carriages felt horrible, and I loathed the missions that required me to use them, as I found myself trying not to crash into every single man, woman, child, and object. The franchise's lockpicking mechanic has also gone through some changes, and by changes I mean gutted and replaced by a learnable skill. While there are many elements of the gameplay I do not like, there is perhaps one aspect that I truly enjoy, and that is the changes to the wall climbing. The change comes in the form of a hook shot that allows you to climb up buildings in an instant and create new ways to cross London's large streets. I am a massive fan of the inclusion of this device, and when I first started using it, my first thought was that I am a Victorian Spider-Man. Now that's enough of Syndicate's gameplay, let's talk about the plot and characters. Well, Assassin's Creed Syndicate takes place in London in 1868, also known as the Victorian era. The game allows you to play as two characters, the twin assassins, Jacob and Evie Fry. The ability to play and switch between the twins is an important part to the game, as each character has their own style, with Jacob being the type to recklessly jump into a situation, and Evie being the type who likes to stick to the shadows and use stealth to achieve her goal. While both characters play differently, you aren't restricted to these traits, as their character skill trees are both the same, but with certain skills only being available to one of the twins. While you have the ability to switch between the twins on the fly, you are however forced to play a particular twin when performing story missions. Speaking of story, what are we doing in Syndicate? Well, like all Assassin's Creed games, it's a fight between the Assassins and Templars over a piece of Eden. Both sides are scouring London for this prize, with the Templars having the upper hand, as the current Templar Grandmaster, Crawford Starrick, controls the city through his business empire that has infiltrated every part of the city. His control spreads past businesses, as he also controls the city's largest gang, known as the Blighters, who keep prying eyes away from any of his crooked activities. With Stark controlling the city, there is only one way for the twins to succeed, and that is to slowly take away Stark's power, street by street and business by business. To do this, the twins have a gang of their own, the Rooks, and with this gang in hand, the twin assassins' goal is to loosen Stark's grip of London and find a piece of Eden before the Templars. While the story does have some good moments, such as how Templars use lies and subterfuge to achieve their goals, for me, the best aspect of the story are the twins. They are the best because they act like how brothers and sisters should. They fight, they disagree, but in the end, they look out for one another, and if one makes a mistake, the other tries to correct it. For example, at one point in the game, Jacob almost causes the collapse of the British economy following a reckless move, but in the end the collapse is averted thanks to Evie, who manages to fix the damage Jacob caused. While I am focusing on the twins, I think I would be remiss if I didn't mention Stark. Stark is a behind the scenes villain who you mostly see in cutscenes, as he lets his henchmen do all the dirty work. He is also seen to be quickly angered as he shoots people just for simply interrupting his train of thought. Moving away from the plot and main characters, what are the assassination missions in Syndicate like? Well, in one word, I would say fun. Every time I'm sent an assassination mission, I relish the opportunity, as I found myself constantly wondering how should I approach my target. Although the game does offer you suggestions with optional opportunities, which are side objectives that can make reaching your target easier. Some options include kidnapping a high-ranking person in the area, getting him or her to escort you to the target, or stealing important information on the target. Assassination missions are also interesting in the way you can choose how to kill your enemy. Unlike in Unity, you don't have to run up and stab them. No, in Syndicate, you can use your full array of tools to your advantage. For example, in one assassination mission, I decided to use a hallucinogenic dart on a guard beside my target. The guard became enraged and killed the target for me. I found it rather odd, as I expected the game to deem it a failure that I didn't strike the final blow myself, but in the end I was glad the game gave me the option to be creative with my killing. Now we've talked about the main plot of the game and assassinating. What are the side missions and controlling your gang like? The game's side missions center on taking control of various areas of the city by completing 4 types of side missions: Bounty Hunt, Gang Stronghold, Child Liberation, and Templar Hunt. Bounty Hunt consists of finding a criminal in an area and attempting to kidnap him and take him to jail. Gang Stronghold consists of entering an area and beating up all the blighters in it. Child Liberation focuses on freeing children from child labour in dangerous factories. And Templar Hunt focuses on searching for a notable Templar and eliminating him or her. When you complete all the side missions in one borough of London, you take part in a gang war where you must defeat the borough's leader to claim the area. The idea of using gangs to wrest control of the city away from the Templars is a novel approach, but I do like how the missions to free the borough play out, as it is logical, as gangs fighting to claim territory makes sense. And while it makes sense, there is an additional reason, and that is each mission raises your level with the mission's corresponding associate, which in turn unlocks new gear, money, and leveling up. And while combat is easy, these 3 things are important. The most important is leveling up, and since you can switch between 2 characters, you essentially have 2 characters to level up, because as I stated earlier, each character has their own skill tree. Gear is essential in increasing your odds of survival, and well, money makes the game go round, as you need an ample supply of it, along with materials to upgrade your gang, upgrade your items, craft items, and more. As Syndicate is an historical game, what historical figures do you run into, and what is the City of London like? And in terms of historical figures you run into, there is Alexander Graham Bell, who makes gadgets for you to play with, Charles Dickens, Charles Dawkins, and more. And of course, all of these men are on your side. As for the city, well, London looks amazing. It looks and sounds like 19th century London, with industry mixed in with those who run the country. It is an interesting mix to see, especially when you realise the most of industrial sectors are on one side of the Thames, while the rich, politicians and other elite live on the other side. This in turn helps increase the immersion as you get to clearly see what type of city London is. A city that knows where its industry is and what it does, but it doesn't want it mixed with the elite. Now, if you're a fan of Unity's co-op multiplayer and Black Flag's competitive multiplayer, then you were in for some bad news, as there is no multiplayer modes in Syndicate, be it co-op or competitive based. Well, I'm glad that co-op is gone. I am surprised they didn't have it in the game, considering the game has 2 main characters. The franchise's competitive multiplayer for the most part was enjoyable, and a lot of the modes, such as hunting and killing players that look like NPCs, were incredibly fun. There's one aspect of Assassin's Creed Unity I really don't like, and that is the fact the game has in-game microtransactions. These microtransactions allow you to use real money to buy in-game money, XP boosts, and crafting resources. Now, while you could argue that since the game is a single-player experience, the buying of items with real money doesn't affect anyone, I personally find it distasteful that a fully priced release feels the need to nickel and dime its users. Now, before reaching my conclusion, let's take a look at the graphics and audio. Graphically, the game looks stunning, especially when you realise there is next to no loading screens, although there is some slight graphical pop-in. In terms of audio, there were no major issues. The audio levels were mixed well, and no one piece of audio tried to drown out the others. So, in conclusion, Assassin's Creed Syndicate is an improvement over its previous game, with a well fleshed out city and playable characters, but the game suffers from a boring and simplistic combat system. And with all that said, I give Assassin's Creed Syndicate a score of 7.5 out of 10, with the game's pros being interesting playable characters, gang warfare, the fact that London is a beautiful, vibrant city, and assassination missions feel like a great reward. The game's cons are the combat feels too simple, lack of co-op or competitive multiplayer, and of course microtransactions. Well, I'd like to say thank you for watching. Please like, favourite and subscribe. For more gaming information, please visit sggaminginfo.com, and don't forget to follow our Facebook page at facebook.com/sggaminginfo, and follow us on Twitter at sggaminginfo.